guys, welcome back to my fish room. Today we're going to be building a Hillstream Loach tank. I have been caring for these Hillstream Loaches for a little bit now, probably about 11 months, almost 12 months. And I'm thinking that they are starting to get to the age where they're thinking about spawning. I know that the boys are sparring, like they're definitely sort of ready to go, and they're showing the girl, you know, look at me, pick me. So I do want to get them into a tank, preferably with no snails, because I have a snail problem. And I have a feeling that if they are breeding, those snails are eating those eggs. So I want to get them into their own tank. I have decided to downgrade their tank into a smaller tank because I've only got the 3, so 2 males and 1 female. They don't have a big bio footprint, so I don't believe that I need to have a larger tank for them. I'm not going to have any other kind of fish in the tank with them. I'm just going to have them and have their sort of scape so that they can breed. Now, something that is important, which I will touch on later, is the tank size. So let me get started and show you what you're going to need, what we can do to set up this breeding tank. Like I said, I haven't had babies yet, and I'm kind of hoping that that will be a future video to update you with. So definitely hit subscribe, click a like, so I know that you guys are interested, and I will be able to get that video up and going for you. This is their current setup. They have been growing out in this tank for quite some time now. Like I said, I have 3 of them in here. There is 2 males and 1 female. I've also used this tank as a grow out for some blue eyes. So as you can see, it is overrun with snails because we are overfeeding this tank a little bit just to get those fish grown up, which are not in here now. And it is also full of hydra, which is a major issue for babies. So we need to basically deconstruct this tank. I'm probably gonna leave, there is a couple of blue eyes left in there, and I am going to leave a lot of it in there, but I need some of the rocks. So I'm going to take the rocks and clean them really well, and that's what we're going to use to construct our new Hillstream tank. It is a 10-gallon tank. Now I know, guys, I know, these fish, you always want to put them in a 20-gallon long, that sort of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, that is great. Put them in a bigger tank. I have 3 of them. I don't have 6, I don't have 10, I have 3. These guys do not have a big biological footprint, and mine are not wild caught, so they are also eating prepared food. One of the biggest reasons that we talk about putting these fish in larger tanks is that there is more biofilm for them to munch on. The more space, the more biofilm it can create. And I feed them a variety of foods. Not only do I feed them the vegetable wafers, also feed them blanched foods, blanched vegetables, and of course some gel foods as well. So they get a really, really, really good mix of food. The other thing that I do on the regular, which I have mentioned in previous videos, is that I remove uneaten food to make sure that my water quality stays immaculate. So those are the things that if you are looking to have these fish and you want to keep them in a tank similar to mine, those are the things that you need to think about. So making sure that your group is not too large, making sure that you are feeding them regularly and they are not relying on biofilm for survival, and that you are keeping your water very, very clean. And if I'm honest, that goes for most smaller tanks. Smaller tanks, the less water that you have, the harder it is to maintain. So before we get started with the new scape, I just wanted to touch on where these guys, their natural habitat, where they're going to be most happiest. So they'll be found in the shallow areas of like rocky streams. Usually they're in the shallower parts, not in like the middle of the river or anything like that. So that's where they like to sort of be, and they like to hide between the rocks and of course breed throughout those areas. What we want to do is emulate that sort of style of scape. So very similar to what I've got them in here. I'm just going to add a little bit more plants to it, and I'm going to make it a little bit more stylized. I'm not just going to chuck a couple rocks in a tank and call it a day, which is basically what I did here for this grow out. So hopefully it'll suit them better than what we've got going on here. I have fed them recently, so that's why they're sort of scurrying around quite a bit. Aren't they beautiful? Such beautiful fish. That patterning, gorgeous. I think they are extremely underrated in the aquarium hobby, and I definitely, like I said earlier, one of the biggest things that I want to do is get them more available out there in the Australian market. Because what we have here in Australia, what is already here and what is breeding here is what we have. because these guys are not being imported anymore. And I know that they're probably, I think they are wildly available in America and other parts of the world. But yeah, here in Australia, they are rare. So very, very cool. Very, very cool fish. So what I think we should do is get started on that tank build. I'm going to start off with some substrate, nutrient-rich layer, and then go in with some like really nice fine sand. And then we'll get started on some hardscape. So I'm going to go and do that. I'll give you guys a little montage of me putting together a little hardscape for them. And we'll have a chat after it's sort of done. Our hardscape's done now. I tried to keep it fairly simple for what they were like needing. So I went with a fine white sand for the base, lots of rocks for nooks and crannies for them to hide in, and of course for their babies to hide in. Added in some of the haunted driftwood. That's just to create a little bit more biofilm for them, because I definitely want biofilm in this tank. And I found these really cute little pots at one of my local aquariums that I just thought were great, and I might add in some Anubias in there, or I'll leave them as hidey holes. So I think the next step will be for plants. I am still trying to mimic that sort of riverbed style, so I'm not going to go too heavy with the planting, but like I say that, and then we'll probably find that I will go heavy because I can't help myself. So let's see how we go. This is our assortment of little plants that I'm going to pop in to this tank. I have a whole bunch of little baby plants, so just some assorted cryptocoryms that I'm just going to scatter basically around the scape. A little bunch of Anubias. I've got just sort of like your standard Anubias here, some different sort of styled leaves on this one. I don't know the names of these. They just sort of came as assorted plants, which is so rude, really. So this one here, this is Trident Java Fern. Beautiful, stunning when it really wants to, you know, when it starts taking off. It's got some babies. And then this little, this stem plant needs a home, so I'm just going to pop her in here for now and we'll see how it goes. So that's what we're starting with. So let's go ahead and plant. Cool, okay, I'm really happy with that. I think it looks like a little jungle, which is really fun. I've got little pieces around here as well, so I think it's time to pop this in its place, and then we can fill her up with some water. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that beautiful new tank finish. I haven't even got the filter in yet. It's just water. Isn't that great? Ah, I love a new tank. Like, I also can't wait for it to get like overgrown and, you know, get that ecosystem going. But I do love a new tank. So cute. I've popped the filter on the back there, and you can actually see it's got a little bit of flow, especially near those leaves. They're definitely moving. So I've just used a hang on the back filter with a waterfall feature, and I've had this filter for a while, so it's been pre-used. So all the media's got the bacteria required. So I'm still gonna leave this tank for a couple days. Hopefully for you guys, it'll just be seconds, but I want to leave it for a couple of days, just make sure that that bacteria spreads throughout the tank, and I'll be doing a water test to make sure that we are good to go. So I think it came out really well. I'm really quite happy with it, and I actually can't wait to get some fish in there. It's been a couple of days now since I filled this tank up, and we've had the filter running that whole time. As I mentioned previously, this filter had been used before, so I had it on another tank and it was fully cycled. This has sped up the nitrogen cycle in this tank. So although there still is a little bit of ways to go because we want to get some good biofilm and things in there, this tank is ready for fish. I did do a water test on this one just to make sure that everything was running smoothly, and we are prepared for fish now. So I'm going to go ahead and add them in. I am going to keep a close eye on this tank all the same, because I don't want any spikes or anything, because there isn't anything in there, and adding anything with a biological load can cause a little bit of upset to the nitrogen cycle. So we definitely don't want to overload it, but I'm only adding in the 3 fish. There's nothing else going in there. So I feel like that's a great point to start with. Usually I would recommend to people who have just started cycling their tank or has just entered into like a nice cycle of a tank to only add maybe 3 fish, if not less. But I'm feeling pretty comfortable with how this tank is going. I did want to touch on really quickly the water parameters that I'm aiming for with these fish. Now, I always say don't chase numbers, but what you are sort of aiming for is a pH of 7. Temperatures in this room, all of my tanks are around that between 22 and 24. It fluctuates a little bit, not too much of course, because that can cause some stress. So yeah, you're looking at that sort of tropical temperature range. Our water that we have here is a soft water. Although we might add a couple of minerals here and there, it is still like predominantly soft. That's what we keep all of our tanks at, and we just keep it really, really stable, which is what I would recommend for you guys as well. Hard or soft water, as long as you keep that water, those water parameters stable, your fish will adapt to it. So that's what we're aiming for. That's what I've got here, and that's what I tested at. So I think it's time for some fish.
Getting lost is time not wasted, as long as it's with you. Unknown roads and foreign places that we're traveling through. We could drive round in circles, any place will do. Endless day.
Well guys, the fish are in. I think the tank worked out perfectly. It's actually better than what I thought I would end up making in this small tank. So all I have to do now is keep an eye on the water parameters, make sure everything remains good and dandy. And then, yeah, they should have a really nice home in this tank. I will keep you guys updated over the next few months to see if I do get some breeding action in here. Whether or not I do, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment down below. Hit subscribe and like if you want to see more videos like this. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.
stray away from the avenue. Getting lost is time not wasted, as long as it's with you.